In a small village in the southern United States, the nights are no longer quiet. Wild hogs have been moving in, tearing up fields, bending fences, leaving fresh tracks right on the edge of where people live. But this time, the villagers chose not to respond the old way. Instead of dealing with the problem in scattered, short-term efforts, they made a different call, building a shared control system for the entire village. One designed to redirect movement and reduce long-term conflict with wildlife. This time, the question wasn't, how many hogs can we catch? It was, how do we make sure the whole village can sleep peacefully again? The biggest change wasn't the equipment, it was the mindset. The goal of this system wasn't to capture as many wild hogs as possible, but to break their habit of moving toward the village. The focus shifted from reaction to prevention. Instead of placing traps in areas already heavily damaged, containment structures were positioned at transitional zones, places where hogs naturally slow down, observe, and assess their surroundings before choosing their next direction. These are decision points in their travel routes. Small changes here can influence the movement of the entire sounder. Each structure wasn't treated as a standalone trap, but as one piece of a larger control network surrounding the village. Effective control starts with thinking, not with tools.
Once you get this, go ahead and leave that, and then another good tip. Very light, very durable. A while y'all didn't have a trap. We use that camera as pre-baiting.
In the early phase, none of the enclosures were activated. They were left exactly as they were for multiple nights, allowing the hogs to approach, observe, and get comfortable. Over time, these structures became just another part of the landscape. No threat, no pressure, nothing out of place. Cameras weren't used to count animals. They were there to track movement patterns, pause times, and group reactions. This data helped operators understand how the sounder made decisions, based on behavior, not guesswork or instinct alone. By not rushing to intervene, the system worked with natural behavior instead of forcing outcomes. When animals don't feel threatened, their true behavior shows itself. Once the system began to take shape, small adjustments were introduced, carefully and selectively. There were no sudden blockades, no aggressive pushbacks. Instead, subtle changes slowly reduced how often hogs moved deeper toward the village, making their old routes less appealing over time. To the hogs, these were just different choices in the environment. To us, it was behavioral guidance, without escalating stress or unnecessary risk. When the cameras showed the sounder changing direction as a group, that was the signal the system was working. Only then were the traps activated, remotely and in coordination across the central zone. The process was controlled and deliberate, holding the hogs within a predefined safe area while minimizing panic and reducing the risk of injury to both animals and people. No structure worked alone. The entire system functioned as one, driven by data, timing, and coordination. A system is only effective when every part moves in the same rhythm. next morning, the village returned to its normal rhythm. No new tracks, no fresh damage in the fields or near homes. Life slowly settled back into routine. The final step wasn't job done, it was a clean withdrawal. Equipment was dismantled according to protocol. Enclosures were checked one last time. Everything was transported out using a modern ranger utility vehicle to avoid leaving behind the scent trails or attractants that could draw hogs back in. Only when the area was completely cleared of signs did the control operation truly come to an end. In wildlife management, lasting solutions don't come from confrontation. They come from understanding behavior, using data, and applying responsible guidance strategies. Peace doesn't come from how many animals are caught in one night, but from when wild hogs no longer have a reason to come back.
It's just a nasty old mess, and I ain't trying to get just nasty just yet. But you can see.
big one right there. 1, 2.
Before the sun even rises, the farm is already showing unusual signs. Soil along the edges of the fields has been dug up, roots are exposed, and fences show new points of displacement. For experienced farmers, these aren't random incidents. They are signals that wild boars are back, assessing the area. The mix of large and small footprints indicates the presence of an entire herd. In such situations, a quick reaction isn't always the best solution. What matters more is understanding how the herd approaches and makes decisions before damage spreads. A snap cage trap is set along the trail near the fence, where the herd usually approaches most cautiously. This isn't meant to be a full-scale solution, but rather an initial step to confirm the frequency of visits and the herd's level of caution. When triggered, a single adult is captured. Data from this moment confirms that the farmland lies very close to the core activity zone of the herd. After this, the surrounding intrusion decreases noticeably. This shows that snap cage traps work well as a risk confirmation tool while simultaneously sending a signal that makes the rest of the herd more cautious. When pressure from the snap cage appears, the herd doesn't leave the area, but expands its approach. Instead of moving individually, they travel in large groups across open land bordering the forest, using open spaces to reduce risk. Net traps are placed at intersections of these open paths, aiming to limit travel corridors rather than target individual boars. When triggered, multiple animals can be captured at once, but some still escape due to the open terrain. This shows that net traps work best in suitable terrain and aren't always ideal for open areas. Wild boars are highly intelligent learners. After previous interventions, the herd becomes more cautious, approaching slowly, stopping to observe, and only going deeper when they feel safe. This indicates a change in herd behavior and shows that strategies must evolve when initial measures no longer surprise them. The boar buster is installed at central points where the herd pauses longest to feed. Cameras monitor the entire process without direct interference. Only when the full herd is within range is the system activated. The trap closes quickly, simultaneously, and without disturbance. The boar buster demonstrates a patience-based approach grounded in understanding collective behavior rather than reacting to individual animals. Even after the main herd is controlled, the farm isn't yet fully safe. Ecological gaps can invite other herds or allow remaining individuals to return for exploration. At this stage, the goal isn't to capture more animals, but to maintain stability. Smart corral traps are deployed to establish clear boundaries around the farmland. They can be activated remotely, ready to intervene if re-entry occurs, but without constantly pressuring the surrounding environment. After several nights without new signs, the area is considered stable. Eventually, the farm returns to normal rhythms, not because the most powerful tool was used, but because each intervention was based on understanding behavior and choosing the right moment. In wild boar control, long-term effectiveness doesn't come from confrontation, but from guiding movements, reducing conflicts, and preventing damage before it happens. This is not only about protecting crops, it's about a responsible approach to the environment and surrounding ecosystem. In practice, the strongest trap isn't always the most effective. The trap best suited to the herd's behavior at a given time achieves the control objectives efficiently. In just a few minutes, a herd of wild boars can transform a peaceful backyard into a ravaged field. Trail cameras, deep in the forest and increasingly on the outskirts of residential areas, are capturing a disturbing reality. Wild boars no longer stay confined to their natural habitat. Sometimes, it's just one boar probing the boundary, but more and more often, entire herds of 15 to 30 boars appear in backyards, cultivated fields, or even on the streets, causing total destruction in just minutes. In the US, wild boars are estimated to cause billions of dollars in damage annually to agriculture, infrastructure, and private property. The destruction of farmland, uprooted lawns, and damaged irrigation systems has forced many communities to spend vast amounts of money on repairs. This is no longer a rare encounter. It is an escalating conflict that directly affects community safety, livelihoods, and the living environment of residents. In response to this situation, many localities have abandoned traditional methods like hunting individual boars, which are costly, inefficient, and prone to scattering the herd. Instead, large-scale cage traps and drop traps are being used to capture entire herds in one intervention. The key to success lies in technology. Remote surveillance cameras allow real-time tracking of herd behavior, accurately counting the boars entering the trap and avoiding non-target wildlife. Only when the entire herd is safely within the trap zone will it be triggered. This approach helps reduce the risk of any individual escaping to continue reproducing, limits stress and injury, and prevents the herd from scattering, which can cause chaotic movement. In modern management, the goal is not to catch quickly, but to control effectively. In residential and suburban areas, every decision must be made with careful consideration. In just minutes, a herd of boars can destroy a garden and tear down fences. More importantly, they pose a real danger to pedestrians, pets, and create severe risks for local traffic. Therefore, all trapping activities must strictly adhere to legal regulations and safety standards. Furthermore, humane principles are a top priority. Catching dozens of individuals in a trap is not considered an achievement. These are data points for management, used for forecasting, resource allocation, and long-term strategy development. The success of wild boar trapping campaigns clearly reflects one reality. When the environment changes, humans cannot stand aside. Wild boar control is not a war against nature. It is a process of adjustment to restore balance between humans, animals, and ecosystems. With data, technology, and a humane approach, wildlife management can become a sustainable solution, reducing damage, protecting communities, and respecting natural life. This is not just an issue for today. It is a long-term responsibility for the shared living space we all occupy. If you're interested in seeing how humans responsibly manage wildlife, subscribe to the channel to follow the next real-world situations.